Let everyone know they're being recorded. Everyone, you're being recorded.
Everyone, you're being recorded.
I am?
Yeah. Ben, you know these things we do once a week? Well, later on they get uploaded to the internet. I don't know if Jay told you. I don't know if Jay told you that the show went live yet.
Yeah, I don't just send it to Mr. Mishap. There's other people
Yeah,
that see
it's been up for like,
theoretically.
890 something people watched Jay stumble over an AO3 tag bid on TikTok. Other people see this apparently.
Yeah, that's a thing. That happened.
There's no justice in this universe because if there was, that view count would be on the "and the baby said" TikTok.
Yes,
Because
it would.
That's the funniest moment in this podcast's history. I'm sorry. That's
Hello and welcome to Star Wars Every Week Forever, the podcast in which we watch one Star Wars movie every week forever. This week, Attack of the Clones.
Yeah. Yep.
Ben, how was your watch?
Boy, howdy. Boy, howdy. Did those clones attack?
It was pretty late in the movie when they attacked, but they did attack.
That's my input. See you guys next week.
Thank you for listening to Star Wars Every Week Forever. We love you all. Good night.
Hello, all you beautiful people, and thank you very much for joining us on yet another week of Star Wars Every Week.
No, I'm kidding. Chris, how was your watch?
Do the clones really attack though? I mean, it's a pretty misleading title. It's like a 70s or 80s shitty horror movie Attack of the Clones, and there's clones attacking indiscriminately. No, they're more I don't know. The clones are more rallying. They're coming in for backup support. I don't know. That's also pretty much my only input. I'll see you guys next week.
If you enjoyed that episode, why not like and subscribe? Also,
yeah, they had the small coalition of 1,000 Lando Calrissians.
Yeah. There was there was a Balthazar in there.
There's a Balthazar in there somewhere.
There were multiple Balthazars.
It might as well be called Attack of the Love Triangle, because that's what it is. We were attacked by I don't know if it was a love triangle, I don't know where that came from, but we were attacked by a love kindling.
Yeah, Padme got in between Anakin and Obi-Wan's love for each other.
Yeah.
Let's be real, Padme got in the way of Anakin's love for himself.
That's true too.
How was your watch, Jay?
I watched this the day of the Star Wars Holiday Special.
That's
Why you decided to do that double feature of all things?
A real 1-2 punch.
I will not understand.
I decided to get all of the pain out in one day. I was like, okay, if I do this today, the rest of my week is squeaky clean.
I understand that. I just would not have the strength that you do.
As I said in the Star Wars Holiday Special, I did lose my mind and just leave the house for a 40-minute walk. But
you see, Jay, she left the house and she just ran down the street, just running and running, Naruto running.
No, we ain't doing this again. I have decided that I'm going back to my original opinion that this is the worst movie of the 9 movies. I fucking hate this movie. Here's the thing. Rise of Skywalker is a terrible disappointment, but at least Rise of Skywalker you can look at and has pretty lights. This doesn't even have that. I can't even let a toddler brain take over while I'm watching it. This thing is slow and subpar and boring and annoying, and I fucking hate it.
This movie is a good example of why creators shouldn't be so married to the concept of a trilogy. because this movie would have been a really good, like, 2 or 3 movies.
I get what you're saying.
Like, you can extend out the beginning part where, like, they're looking for the bounty hunter / assassin lady.
That's the best part of the movie.
Yeah, like, you could have extended
Slapbox
that
hit in
out
the
a
rain.
whole lot more, and, like, you know, you would have gotten a whole lot, like, you could have filled out, like, extended small plot hooks into bigger plot hooks, like, you know, and Obi-Wan could have, for like a third time, been like, oh, I think he must be this way, and Anakin's like, hey man, why do you assume that it's a he just because it's like an assassin or whatever? Like, that's a really, you know, that's Obi-Wan, I gotta be honest with you, man, it's a pretty toxic and damaging ideology, and I think you should really analyze that.
Hold on, this is all even in this fake reality that we've made Anakin say?
Yeah, this is Anakin saying this, and then they have like a whole talk about the patriarchy at the bar there.
I feel like if we're gonna make anyone woke, it cannot be Anakin.
No, I'm all on board with the woke Anakin train. I feel like that would be really fun. Like,
no, because you can't reconcile that. You can't reconcile that with halfway through this movie.
I understand the viewpoint. I used to say, before I was ruined by 2 years of Star Wars every week, that Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith should have been the trilogy. So you take the ideas of Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith and divide it up into 3 movies. But that would imply that I would have to watch more of this romance still written by George Lucas. And I think this movie is a perfect example of why you should have a opinionated producer on board, which obviously Rick McCallum was. I would never criticize Rick McCallum.
No, see, I think more time would have even given the romance arc. Like, I think it would have given George more to work with, because the way it works now, Padme and Anakin's relationship is very much like The Sims, where in the arc of one movie, they connect, they fall in love, they get married. It's like this whole arc that happens, and you look at the clock and you're like, I think it's been like 2 days.
I do, while I'm watching Attack of the Clones, look at the clock and say, I think it's been 2 days. I do that very often. I at one point during this watch looked at the clock and it was 6:30 and I thought it was like 8:30. Yeah, because I thought, man, I haven't eaten yet, and I looked at the clock and it was only 6:30.
I think I'm actually like serious about this defending George Lucas thing right now, and I must be way too high, way too early into this episode.
You are,
That's
because
what's happening.
Here's my counterpoint to you.
Are.
No, present your case, because I do have a counterpoint, and it's a very short.
George's writing is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
There's no defending. Sorry, Georgie boy, your writing's dog shit.
He's an ideas guy.
Yeah, he's more of an ideas guy. The dialogue's not for him. George Lucas has actually never talked to a person. Fun fact.
Yeah. He hasn't ever talked to a person that he either wasn't married to, the father of, or the boss of.
Yeah, George Lucas doesn't know dialogue. He
doesn't talk to people. He just starves them or lowers their oxygen.
Okay, let's take away their food. They're still alive. Okay, great. Let's take away their water. Still going. Okay, let's turn down the oxygen level.
No, because like, there's no defending George Lucas's dog shit dialogue or how he thinks a romantic relationship develops and forms, because clearly something's wrong on both of those counts. But if this was if this was more movies, he'd have more of a chance to be a bit more subtle, perhaps, as opposed to cramming a fucking trilogy's worth of a romance arc into one fucking movie.
Yes, the thing that everyone has said George Lucas can be, subtle.
No, he doesn't cram the whole thing in. There was that one time when he was 9 that Anakin called her an angel.
I feel bad for Chris right now. He's trying so hard, and we're just shitting all over it.
I'm just gonna keep getting more and more high because apparently, yeah.
Love you, Chris.
I understand what you're saying, Chris. Here's my counterpoint. I have seen George Lucas direct actors.
Well, but
there's no saving it. There's no saving
listen,
it.
the problem was he knew he was on a time crunch, and with the way that, you know, he was like, it has to be a trilogy, so they have to completely fall in love and get married in this movie. That's where Faster and More Intense came from. He was like, listen, I need
I need you to all fall in love faster and more intensely.
We have one movie, Faster and More Intense.
Listen, I need to do an entire relationship arc from meeting each other as adults to getting married in the course of 2 hours. Let's move this along because I also have a detective arc and some clones attacking in this movie.
We need room for the Obi-Wan diner scene, god damn it.
Yeah, exactly.
George Lucas getting angry is a really funny image in my head because despite anything we say about him, George Lucas is not like a yeller. He's just a mild disappointment over worker, which is almost worse.
I have seen George Lucas yell before.
Was it as an act on Robot Chicken?
No, like I've seen him. They were on, it looked like Skywalker Ranch, I guess, and they were in one of the rooms, and someone was trying to pitch something with Mara Jade in it, and George Lucas famously hates that character. And the writer accidentally goes, well, you created Mara Jade. He goes, I did not create Mara Jade. And he opens the doors, he starts screaming at him to leave.
Yeah, but that was a bit.
Was it a bit? I didn't know that
was a bit. It was a Robot Chicken bit. 1,000% a Robot Chicken bit. It's a when Robot Chicken went to Skywalker Ranch. Yeah, it was just an episode of Robot Chicken. I believe that was them going to Skywalker Ranch and doing a bunch of bit interviews with George Lucas.
Okay, never mind then. That was a bit.
That was a bit. I've never seen George Lucas actually angry. He doesn't have an emotional range.
The way Ben started that story, it was like he was like, yeah, I've seen George Lucas yell before. Like, oh, you know, it's like he was in the bathroom at the Denny's, and I saw him go in, and I was like, Mr. Lucas, I'm a big fan because I have your autograph. And he's like, I'm at the urinal, man. What do you do?
I met George Lucas on the street, and he looked at me and he said, "You're the little fucker that's doing the Star Wars Every Week Forever podcast. Come here."
I had a coworker.
About us.
I had a coworker who was that person. I'd be in the bathroom, and this sack of person would come over and be like, "Hey Ben, how's it going?" I'm like, "Dude, listen, I get like 10 minutes of quiet a day. And I'm trying to take my mid-morning shit, and you just walk on over here."
When I worked security at one point for a high-profile company with which I will not name for free.
Free?
My partner.
Save your price, Chris.
My partner once peed at a urinal next to Randy Orton and asked him for an autograph, and Randy Orton told him to go fuck himself, apparently, which is my favorite story.
Do you have any more? Because we were shitting on it, but you were making valid points. Do you have any more Georgie boy comments?
No, I just think if he had more time, it wouldn't be as bad. It would still suck, but it would be like, I don't know, it'd be stretched out suckage and not so much in your face. You know?
Stretched out suckage is a hell of a turn of phrase.
I don't know that something sucking for a longer period of time is better, actually.
Hey, honey, I'm really feeling that stretched out suckage tonight.
Ah, gross. Gross. That's a thing I've heard with my own ears now.
I have a point that I would actually seriously like to talk about that will become a riff, but I want to keep it like confined with some rules, and that is...
Which means, Ben, no Obama.
Well, that's just a standing rule on the podcast.
Really strictly no Barack Obama policy.
Because we can't go into the impressions, because that's the rest of the episode. I would like to talk about Jar Jar specifically The idea that maybe Jar Jar was way smarter than anybody thought he was, and that no, I'm serious. No, it's important to me. Hear me out.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about Darth Banks. If it becomes that, I want to move on right away. I don't want it to be that.
Okay.
But it did strike me this watch that the man, not from Phantom Menace, but from the 10-year period where he became a representative of Naboo through the end of Revenge of the Sith, the man was in a lot of places where he could take advantage of situations and maybe push his own agenda. So this is not a conversation I want to have where maybe he was like the secret enemy of the entire prequel trilogy or whatever. I just want to point out that maybe he was like, maybe Jar Jar was like the Lindsey Graham to Palpatine's John McCain.
Well,
counterpoint. I think it was just nepotism in politics. Like business as usual.
That's actually what I'm trying to make the point of.
If a president makes his son-in-law in charge of something really important for no reason, even though everyone knows he's not capable of doing any of it.
I mean, that's the better explanation. All I'm saying is that he's put in a position where he could actively work against the person he was under. Like the woman that got him a job somehow that he didn't deserve, that he worked under for 10 years, so he should have known her policies, even for Jar Jar, who is somehow not as dumb as he was in the previous movie. And then he's in Palpatine's inner circle in Revenge of the Sith, probably because he did that. I don't want to make this like Jar Jar is secretly a supervillain. All I want to say is I think Jar Jar might have been corrupted by being a politician, and he might have done some shit for his own benefit.
This upsets me on a level I have a hard time describing, because Jay has not even seen the Clone Wars.
I've seen the first season where he was just a goof.
I want to make it clear.
He is quite bluntly portrayed as having a love affair with a legitimate queen.
Yo, this dude really was the fucking... He's Lindsey Graham. Jar Jar Binks is Lindsey Graham.
I'm upset beyond words.
I hit the nail on the fucking head.
I want the audience to know, I need it to be very clear, because I know for you audience it just sounded like Jay and I going back and forth on this for a second while Ben was silent. You didn't get to see Ben go through 12 different facial expressions, poses, emotions. There was a lot going on Ben's end.
He went through the 5 stages of grief 3 times. So, you grieved, you tried to not think that it was real, and then you realized it was real, and then you denied it was real, and then you realized it was real again, and denied it again, and realized it again, and then you mourned. Motherfucker, at some point smartened up and realized, I have some power now.
But does that mean that Jar Jar is smarter than people think, or that he just failed upward?
I mean...
Also much like a politician.
That's what I was about to say.
Either way.
I'm not saying he's a super genius. I'm just saying he ended up somehow in a politician's role and failed upward like many politicians. Because you know that motherfucker, like, on top of everything else, you know that motherfucker wasn't voted in. He was, like Padme went to fucking Otto Gunga and was like, Boss Nass, who do you think would be good? And Boss Nass, wanting to fuck with Jar Jar Binks at all times, was like, Jar Jar Binks, you're a senator.
You know what I would love to see? And this is genuine, I think. I don't think this is a bit.
I hate the way you're smiling because something terrible is about to happen.
I would love... Give me, like, digital shorts of Jar Jar's campaign run.
I'm down.
No.
It's just Jar Jar traveling throughout Naboo. Just giving fucking political speeches and rallies, hosting rallies and shit.
It's like what Pokemon did with their 15th anniversary. They put out like little 10-minute shorts where in like each region. Just put out little 10-minute shorts of Jar Jar politically campaigning.
What do you think? What do you think Jar Jar's, like, what platform do you think he was running on?
I mean, the dude's with Palpatine, so obviously it's some pretty fascist shit. Like, in Revenge of the Sith, dude is with Palpatine. He's no longer with Padme. Like, he's in he moves with Palpatine's inner circle, and the only time we see him anywhere near Padme is at her funeral.
You think he was there, like, just shaking his head like, I should have listened to Palpatine, we tried to warn you.
I just like to think that maybe Palpatine was going to Jar Jar Binks the same way he was going to Anakin. And like that Ian McDiarmid face just having to have strict composure while he deals with this fucking maroon. Just like meets Jar Jar Binks in a fucking bar and lets him vent to him. Just like grooming him for a long period of time to slowly become a real nasty fascist.
Jar Jar Binks, have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth?
And this is the point where we cut off the conversation, because as soon as it became evil dictator, fucking secret mastermind shit, I was ready to throw it the fuck out. I don't want it. I don't want that. I don't want that.
Yeah, but like Jar Jar is still just like oblivious. He has no idea. No idea that he's fucking like helping Palpatine do evil shit. He's just like so excited to be there.
Oh. Good God.
Do you see what you've done?
I'm not upset about it, but I'm also not proud.
Ben, Jay and I have gone now. Do you have any opinions you'd like to state tonight? Ben looks miserable to be here right now.
We got into this conversation and my brain was like, well, time to dissociate.
Man, I feel like we've found Ben's two weaknesses, Jar Jar Binks and behind the scenes production information.
We are aware of his kryptonite now. I have kryptonite against the both of you if I should ever want to use it, which I would never do.
So, like, Star Wars, the second one.
Bad movie.
Star Wars, the second one.
I watched, as I
Actually,
stated
the
before, my
eighth.
roommate's watching with me.
Well, no. I did that
And,
math. The fifth one? That would make the fifth one.
Yes, Chris.
As I said before, my roommate's watching with me this rotation.
Ben's just trying to hang in there while we're fucking idiots tonight.
And
Listen, it's a Monday night.
Fucking dives out the window and she goes, Obi-Wan's really got a death wish, doesn't he? And I just
Yes!
like, thank you.
Yeah.
We've been saying this for years.
I feel seen.
Yeah.
And I felt very, very vindicated.
I just had a disassociative episode because you said we've been saying this for years, and we literally been saying this for years now.
Like, no, we've only been saying it for
a year and a half.
Oh God.
Christ.
I noticed something about how Hayden Christensen acts.
Poorly?
What? Yeah, well, yeah. I realized when Hayden Christensen is asked to portray emotion, he does the same thing that a lot of singers who can't sing do, which is change the tone of their voice, change the key of their voice a ton of times to make up for the fact that they can't sing. That is the presentation that Hayden Christensen gives when he's being forced to like present an emotion. Like the biggest one that made me realize it was just him saying "my mother" in 5 different tones.
He mumbles it. He like, my mother.
But it's not even just a mumble. Like the way he projects his voice goes through different decibels. Like 1 at the bottom, 2 up, and then 2 down, all in 3 fucking... My brain just broke.
Oh.
Syllables. 3
Welcome
fucking
to the
syllables.
Oh, we are holding on by a thread tonight.
Yeah, but
It's a-
really, I think this is the most we've talked about the movie that we're on in many rotations.
That's a fact.
No. This is the most we've talked about a prequel movie in an episode in many rotations. We've been just sleepwalking through some prequel movies lately.
That's how I've gotten through the prequel movies for the last decade, is I just, oh, it's on TBS, I guess I'll fucking watch it.
Are there any other significant reactions that you got out of your roommate?
Probably, but my brain's not really loading them in right now.
My brain's not doing the thinking stuff tonight, and I just...
We did have a laugh at Obi-Wan walking into Camino and being like, "What is everything?" And they're like, "This is what's going on." And he's like, "Ah, yes, the reason I'm here." And we had a good chuckle about that.
It's a really good part. Oh, yes, the clones I ordered, of course. Now,
Yes, of course.
we
When did I
everything-
order those?
The only thing that I genuinely enjoy about this movie now is watching Obi-Wan fail upwards walking through the halls of Camino's clone facility, because it's a short period. All of those scenes happen in like 8 minutes, which means I like 8 minutes more than the rest of this fucking movie by a country mile. But literally, like you just said, him going in to meet with the Kaminoans and just having no idea what the fuck's going on and just going with it. And then him talking, being explained things and just being smart enough to go, yes, sure. It's so good. Even in his conversation with Django, he has a little bit more information than the rest of the time he's on Camino, but not fucking much. Which actually brings me back into a point that is not new, but I would like to revisit. And that is Yoda treating Obi-Wan like an 8-year-old. In a room full of 8-year-olds. Which is the other only favorite scene that I have of this movie. I said a little bit ago that the best part of the movie was the chase. No, the chase is the only part of this movie that I can pay attention to without having to rewind several times to bring my brain back. The best part of this movie is all of those scenes and this one.
The best thing to come out of this movie is all the memes of, like, happy Ewan McGregor, like, flying shit.
The best, if we're gonna do that, the best thing to come out of this movie is Jango Fett dancing under an umbrella.
That's true.
My favorite thing to come out of this movie is Jango Fett, fucking Rocket Man, fucking Kirk. But that's mostly a bit from this podcast.
I mean, the bits from the podcast.
William Shatner.
Count.
Well, yeah, but the book now I
William
can't.
Shatner.
Now I can't even look at that book without thinking.
Speaking of Book of Boba Fett, don't be a coward. Make Boba Fett dance with an umbrella.
Don't do this. You're setting yourself up for disappointment here, Jay.
I'm not gonna watch it.
You're gonna set me up for disappointment, Jay.
I don't know if I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it, but I don't really have too much interest in it.
Oh, I do. But that's
Like, it's gonna be The
me.
Godfather, but in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I care to see that.
I mean, I'm interested in it, but not interested enough to spend the few hours of a week that I have that isn't Star Wars, or editing Star Wars, or recording Star Wars, or watching Star Wars on Book of Boba Fett. Now, Obi-Wan, I will watch at least one episode of that, unless it's absolute trash, and if it's absolute trash, I will not watch another episode. But on a trial basis, that I will watch. Catch me 2 years ago, I would have watched the shit out of the Book of Boba Fett. Not now.
You know what? I would actually rather watch the Book of Boba Fett than this movie ever again. So
Yeah. 8 weeks. 8 weeks till we have to watch it again.
yeah.
They're all rough now, though. There aren't easy watches anymore.
Episode 3, we have fun with a lot, I feel.
I had fun recording it.
My wife has demanded that I let her watch that with me this time.
I'm looking forward to getting through the prequels with my roommate, and then slowing down to the original trilogy, because as much as I love the OT, they are much slower. Like the pacing is a lot slower.
We're on Attack of the Clones, Ben.
Jay,
What's the point?
listen.
I don't have words. You're not wrong.
Perspective.
She's not wrong.
I'm wrong.
Okay, but in comparison to
And Empire Strikes Back is a pretty, fast movie. It doesn't stop. But it only stops in very select parts.
But, listen, alright. So,
Listen.
nothing can quite match up to the pacing that is the episode 1 pod race.
When Ben's
It's
making
what
a,
I'm trying to say.
I didn't see it coming and I'm mad.
when Ben is making a point, much like Jar Jar Binks on that campaign trail, he's like a politician, with the hands up.
I
starts
was
doing
talking
these
with my hands.
I just had to stop myself from doing Obama, so that's where we're at now.
I was just picturing Jar Jar up at the podium doing a Bernie speech with his hands just listen.
Go.
Not gonna do it. No, I'm not adding a Bernie Sanders impression to our.
The history of the podcast. We've done too
Yeah.
much.
Too many.
That'll be the rest of the episode. We can't do it. No more politician. Apparently, politician impressions are our bread and fucking butter. We can't do it because I know I can do a lot of Bernie Sanders impersonations if I want to. I have no more notes. Except how much I hate this movie.
I didn't have any notes to begin with, so.
It's very rare I run out of notes.
Star Wars Clones of the Attack
What makes you think that is going to get us back on track?
is a movie that we watch.
We explained the concept of yes-anding to Ben once, and he thinks that it could just be used in everyday situations. He's like, if I start this statement, someone will finish it for me, and we'll be on track.
I think Ben thinks that yes and is a phrase synonym for a segue.
Listen, it's a good joke.
It's not
It's a good joke.
Where did we tell a joke? I think this episode is just us recovering from the Star Wars holiday special. That's where I'm at. Hello, wherever we're fucking at. I don't know when this episode comes out.
6 weeks from now.
Probably my birthday week.
Happy possibly birthday, future Jay.
I don't know. I can't wait until I correct myself in the
I
YouTube
can't
copy.
wait till Ben's off by 4 weeks.
No, I would love that. So someone just walked into my room and it was Major Merchandise and he punched me in the face and I have on my face he left the name of a website, so I just had to type it in, and yeah, I have a merch corner now.
You might want to put some ice on that, Jay. That looks pretty bad from here.
Yeah, I'll deal with that after I present the thing that I have just been forced to present.
Never seen a bruise in the shape of a URL.
I think it was Brass Knuckles, and the Brass Knuckles left the URL, which is pretty tight.
Oh, this is a
What the
thing.
fuck?
I've been holding on to this one for a long time. It's been on the edge of, like, I don't know if I'll use this or not, so I'm glad it invoked the same reaction that I had.
Why does his head look like a scrotum? That's been through a wood chipper.
So what are we looking at?
So this object is so it's a little figure of Snoke, and it's like he's got this big old head, and it looks like he looks like a Lego figure in that, like, the top of his head looks like it was just like fucking attached onto there.
Right, it's important to know that this is a Mighty Mug, and all of the Mighty Mugs look bad because you can turn the heads inside of it.
Yeah,
But
so
this
when you
one I
bop
feel
his head,
is especially bad.
it turns, and he's got, like, yelling, sulking, and like surprised anime girl face.
Yeah,
No,
I don't. That face is
him getting stabbed, I do believe.
But
yeah, but out of context, it doesn't look great. I don't know what that expression is supposed to be.
I hate everything.
Oh, it was popular enough that it's fucking sold out.
It's a choking hazard apparently, which I did not expect. It looks bigger than that.
It's like a 3 3/4 inch, I think.
It's actually more horrifying knowing that it's very small. Yeah, so this thing
It's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah. So it has like a the worst thing about this, I personally think, other than the ball sack head, which the frame that the head is inside looks like a ball sack because it has the scar up the middle.
It looks like a ball sack that has had a grievous injury.
A big old ball sack.
Big old ball sack.
Big old we're not starting that again.
Jay was on to me. Jay's on to me.
Future me, get rid of that counter. Take it off the screen.
I was sitting here like, how many times can I do it? Because I know if we get
Gary, can we get
I
ball
will
sack
be able
down?
to talk Jay.
No, Gary, you're my employee now.
Wait, so when we do the spin-off episodes, I get Gary?
You get custody of Gary.
we all have shared custody of Gary.
You get he wasn't happy when I told him he had to buy his own plane ticket back to the East Coast from here when
Oh, he's not going to be happy with me. He's going to be riding the bus.
See, well, that makes sense because Gary is our employee / stepson.
Stepson?
I have a brother.
You have a stepbrother now, I guess. I don't know.
Whose kid is this?
I don't know, but he gets shuffled between the three of us as is needed, so it makes sense, yeah.
Why do we all have shared custody of this? This got weird.
I have shared custody of my sibling?
I don't know. I'm trying to come up with lore for the podcast on the fly.
I feel like this is unconstitutional.
So
Gary, if you need us to call someone, blink twice.
So the Mighty Mug Supreme Leader Snoke figure, the thing that I want to point out that Ben already touched on is the anime eyes. Because I genuinely think that the anime eyes are what offsets all of these. Because it comes close, other than the ball sack head, which cannot be emphasized enough. It comes
ball sack.
It comes close to like getting Snoke. But
even
like
the anime eyes aren't like terrible, except for the one.
Pretty fucking bad.
it's not even the surprise I just got stabbed one that bothers me. It's the one below it. It's like the snarl face.
The
'Cause-
Snoke trying to
He's
use
What?
the bathroom.
trying to pinch a loaf. Yeah.
I hate this show, but you want to know what that face looks like? It looks like that one character on Boba Bo. What is the name of that character?
That's a
Did I-
throwback.
Did I just have a stroke, or did you just have a stroke?
It was a real television
Oh,
show.
that was a show. I used to watch it when I was younger.
It looks like the Boba Bo was a terrible show that was on Toonami. That was
Yeah.
literally just Americans making fun of anime. I hated the show because it was just like one terrible humor segment after the other. And there was a little like red sun that would do the same thing that's happening with this Snoke thing, which is just the art style of their face constantly changes with different anime eyes. And that's what this looks like.
I do remember this.
It was a terrible fucking show. The main character had nose hairs that they fought with. It's fucking awful.
It was based off of an actual Shonen Jump manga, apparently.
That shocks me. Because it felt like a
This is-
parody of anime.
This looks like the dumbest fucking
Well, I
thing I've
mean-
ever goddamn seen.
That a lot of anime is parody of anime. Not a lot, but there's
Yeah.
definitely they're out there.
Let's say another opinion that's gonna make people mad, probably like when I've said many times I've never seen a single episode of Star Trek. I don't get anime. Not a single
I
one of it.
I could get into some shows.
Here's the
Don't
thing. The bad anime and the bad fans of those anime are so bad that it ruins any good anime that might be out there.
I liked Death Note.
Oh,
That sounds
Jay, we
Death
do
Note
a
was
Star
good.
Wars podcast. We can't really judge fandoms.
You are correct. I mean, our bread and butter is kind of judging fandoms at this point,
Well,
meaning Star Wars,
yeah.
because we
Listen.
don't have much to talk about.
That's why I said I don't get it. It's not for me, but I'm not gonna talk shit. I only actively talk shit about fandoms that I am an active part of.
Yeah, that's the
Hence this
thing.
podcast.
The older you get, the more you stop having hills to die on and instead choose to just say, that's not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
then
like
you'll
DC
be the
Comics
one
and their various other properties. It's no longer for me.
until you find the one person that totally agrees with you, and then you will unload the reasons why something is entirely shit. But until you are with that person, which I run into this problem sometimes where I'm talking to someone who gets it, but it's in an online space, so other people can see it, and then I have to backtrack and then go, oh, if it's your thing, I'm so sorry. But really, that's what it comes down to. It's like, I get it. It's not my thing. I shouldn't really have a say in this thing. Just like we shouldn't have a say on Star Wars anymore because we have fucking ruined ourselves to it. That was major merchandise. This Snoke is awful.
Goodbye, major merchandise. I'll see you in a year.
I don't know. You do it more often than just once a year.
I only host the holiday special.
You do it in regular episodes sometimes if you find something cool.
Ben does the spin-offs. We
Oh,
do
you mean
the
you won't
spin-off.
physically see major merchandise?
Yeah.
until then. You
Yeah.
were willingly doing major merchandise segments? I was being coerced into doing major merchandise segments.
Yeah, no, I found them in the wild. Major merchandise actually sent me like a tip.
I've never heard from this individual.
Lucky you.
Maybe it's just the it's the very small part of me that's still desperately clinging on to the idea that Game of Thrones has some redeemable storytelling. I would like to have seen more of the political side of Star Wars explored.
Same. I think about that a lot, actually.
That's what George Lucas was trying to do, but he has like
He's bad at it.
he has like
George
a third grade
Lucas-
understanding of politics.
George Lucas is a guy that loves to watch CNN with his morning coffee and thinks he has a stance on something.
I think we've talked about this before, where I think George Lucas is like the punk band that you loved when they were in their 20s, but in their 40s, they've clearly just like totally fallen back on everything that they thought. That's George Lucas to me. So I think by the time he was ready to do the prequels, he is so corrupted by his own merch fucking empire and his anti-union thing that he has going on, which we don't talk about that enough. George Lucas specifically wouldn't join a union because it meant that he had to have where every director was joining unions in Hollywood and going by union rules in the 80s. He legitimately wouldn't do it, and he literally left the fucking company he was working for and went into the fucking woods to hide the fact that he was filming the movie, not just from the fans, but from the fucking union, so that he could film more hours than he was supposed to in a goddamn day. I digress. I think by the time he made the prequels, any of those ideas that he had in his scatterbrain head that would have made a good political Star Wars movie were gone, and there's only the shades of what might have been in this now. If he had handed it to someone who had an idea of a political landscape that could have built all the way up to the Empire, I think we could have had 3 really interesting movies here.
I occasionally do this thing where I realize I have a concept that I actually love a whole bunch, and I'm gonna pitch it now, and I'm gonna pitch it into the ether where nothing will ever come of it. I would love so much for that to be what Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie is, because he'd be the guy to do it, and it would be incredible.
Taika Waititi doing the prequels would have been a really good choice if, time and space was different, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's all relative.
I don't think that's how time works. Otherwise, I would be much less frightened to turn in 31 soon. Or this week, maybe. I don't know when this comes out. Taika Waititi would have been the perfect director for the prequels.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'm excited for his upcoming Star Wars movie, they're still calling it, but like it wouldn't surprise me if it gets turned into a Disney Plus series.
I have no faith that it'll ever happen at this point. So many Star Wars projects, unlike the MCU, which has just barreled forward with projects the entire pandemic, Star Wars has been completely derailed by the pandemic and pretty much nothing other than Mandalorian Season 2 and Bad Batch, which all were largely done pre-pandemic.
We're at a point right now we're probably not getting Squadrons.
Yeah, that's
no idea what's going on with Ahsoka.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Book of Boba Fett's the only thing we're getting actual drip fed content.
They just did this big Disney Plus sizzle reel of like content coming in 2022, and not even just a glimpse of Ewan McGregor. Nothing for Obi-Wan.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. Book of Boba Fett started filming, I believe, it was scheduled before, I guess, capitalists realized that the pandemic was going to be lasting more than 3 fucking months. So Book of Boba Fett was already in production, and then everything else after Book of Boba Fett, they were like, back the fuck off. But as I understand it, the Obi-Wan show is in production now.
People were expecting it to come out summer 2022, I think, but I would.
That's not going to happen.
I would be amazed if we get it holiday 2022 at this point.
Anything I think that's going to come out in the first 2 quarters of 2022 is going to be animation. There's no way that they're going to.
Right, I don't need anything else in 2022 except for Moon Knight. I'm getting a fucking Moon Knight show, so I don't need anything else to happen. That's it. That's all I need. That's my year.
I've been able to watch most of the MCU content because I like pain, I guess. So I've been keeping up with that. The only thing that I won't watch is WandaVision, because it's just I have a totally unfair to WandaVision personal grudge against Wanda herself from the comics, and also the fact that they stole the idea from a Jessica Jones comic, so the combination makes me not want to watch WandaVision. I've watched all the other MCU stuff. I haven't watched shit Star Wars.
Hawkeye has been very good. I know we only talk about Star Wars here, but Hawkeye has been very good. Ben has seen not a single movie
But he's seen
ever.
every Star Wars content that has come out.
I've seen a good chunk of the MCU movies.
We're sitting here after maligning Disney in nearly every episode we ever put out talking about the MCU, and I think it should be pointed out that we're fucking hypocrites.
Yeah, obviously. I mean,
have
I ever
everybody
claimed
on the Disney?
Listen, I can still hate Disney while appreciating what Kevin Feige's been able to do with the Marvel Universe.
To be fair, I wouldn't have Disney Plus. Actually, I don't have Disney Plus. I mean, I have Disney Plus. We're all paying for it.
We're all paying for Disney Plus through
Best
completely legal
$7.99
means.
in the biz.
Best $7.99 in the biz.
It is.
Are we talking about something I like? I went in a trance.
You're paying for Disney Plus. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that fucking thing.
What do you mean, Ben?
I mean that fucking thing.
There
Disney
you go.
Plus, give me money.
Disney Plus, sponsor us. Email
Disney
us at
Plus
starwarseveryweekforever@gmail.com.
Don't you want... Listen, Disney, don't you want this show on a big old banner on your welcome page where it's just us three
No,
talking
they
about
don't.
how good of a movie Star Wars Attack of the Clones is?
Disney, stop listening. We gotta have an important conversation about, I don't know, politics. You'll stop listening then. Yo, if Disney ever sponsors anything that we put up, I will make their lives fucking miserable. All right, Disney, we're good.
Listen, as I've stated previously, I am accepting bribes. All right, Disney.
Yo, you want to know what I would consider genuinely shelling out for Disney Plus for? If they pay for our Disney Plus for life, I will talk about Disney for the rest of the time. Because that's all I truly want, is to never spend money on Disney Plus again. And I will put their advertisements in while also talking shit about Star Wars. That's my condition. I have to talk shit about Star Wars. They're not gonna. But that's not gonna happen because we're three assholes shitting on their franchise.
Just as God intended.
We just have to find some other capitalist assholes to sponsor us.
Fucking Bezos. Get him on
Yeah.
the horn.
What's
Get Jeffrey over here. Get Jeffrey over here. I want to have a conversation with
What are
fucking
some,
Jeffrey.
what are some common sponsor people? MeUndies,
Audible.
I like your underwear.
Oh, wait, that's
they're comfortable
Bezos.
on my butt.
Fight ramen.
Dollar
I
Shave
have-
Club. I have a beard. I don't shave my head
I gotta
anymore. I've
shave-
just gone a full Cody Johnston at this
I
point.
gotta
I'm just letting whatever's
shave
gonna
that
happen
beard.
happen up here.
Oh,
I don't think
Yeah, it's
we're
not.
ever
It's
gonna-
great, right? It's
I've
fucking-
never
it's pretty
seen
bad.
Chris with the widow's peak.
It's bad.
I don't think anybody's gonna ever sponsor us, but I have a dream sponsor, and it's not gonna be anyone you think.
Adam and Eve.
You're
how
not
many-
far off.
Listen, I would read those ads happily. That'd be great.
A few years ago, as if I'm not indebted to the McElroy brothers enough, ExtremeRestraints.com sponsored them and paid for
Wait,
3
who?
months. ExtremeRestraints.com sponsored them for about 3 months. And that's what I would like to.
I have.
ExtremeRestraints.com sponsor us. We will advertise your shit.
Oh, we will advocate. We could make some bits out of that. This will be
I-
useful when I have to watch fucking Star Wars Attack of the Clones this week.
I had there's a YouTuber I used to watch. I can't remember their name. If I remember, I'll send it to Jay and we'll hash that out. But they at one point were actually sponsored by Fleshlight. And
Dope.
it was the funniest ad bit I ever saw.
I mean,
He pulls up the one thing. He goes, "This thing runs on its own. It's fucking automatic. I don't know what to do with
We
this. It
are-
scares me."
We are totally cool. Just give us an email, starwarseveryweekforever@gmail.com.
God. Come on, listen. Just watch one of our episodes with our yes anding. You think we can't come up with some good ad reads? We should get a billboard.
Oh,
No,
I get a billboard.
I once talked about how there's like a ceiling for this, and if we surpass the ceiling, this podcast is almost sad. If we get a billboard, this is just sad.
How much funnier does this show actually become if we start legitimately making money off the dumbest idea ever, though?
All I want to do is break even. That's
Let's
all I
think, if-
really
if
want.
this because it would immediately be dumped back into making our production value even higher,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is even funnier because of what we do.
The
We went
production,
from
the
dog
production
shit-
costs of watching a movie every week.
We have gone from absolute dog shit to semi-adequate, and I do mean semi with a heavy emphasis.
The big asterisk at the end of that.
Yeah.
Imagine what it would be like if we had great production.
Can you imagine if this show had a budget? Like,
Can you imagine if I had any pay-for editing software? Because I have none. It's all free, and I'm guesstimating on free stuff that I've never used until this podcast. Except GIMP. Which brings us back to bring us your kinship.
ExtremeRestraints.com.
ExtremeRestraints.com. This has been Star Wars Week Forever.
And you can advertise with
Star Wars Everything Forever at Gmail. I can't end it like this. I can't end it like
Why
this.
not? It's the perfect off-ramp.
Is it?
Yes! It is so us. Jay, do you think we have shame? Because I don't.
I have been
I
known
do
to be
this
the
podcast
one.
every week.
I have been known in our various friend groups to be the one person with shame, and maybe that's what's happening right now.
here's the way I look at it. Like, because we could, if we had a slightly bigger audience, discuss like a Patreon or something, but I wouldn't want to do that. I don't want like
No.
the wonderful people who actually listen to the show to give us a dime. I want
Greedy
stupid
companies.
corporations to give us money.
I've actually had a friend tell me, like, hey, you guys should put up a Patreon because I want to give you money. And I was
No.
Absolutely not.
no way.
Audience, we
No.
don't give us money
Our-
for this.
We have like 6 fans, and they are very loyal to us,
We love
and I
you
would
all.
never take advantage of them.
Someday, if we decide to sell merch or something, that's entirely different. But just like
Is
a
it?
Patreon where it's
Yeah,
because
you're
at least
getting
there's
something.
an exchange of goods
With
and
Patreon,
or services.
With Patreon, you could do like a thing where it's like you get additional stuff, but like, fuck
No,
that.
that's We don't have time for additional stuff. You want additional stuff on top of this stuff?
That's what the Christmas special's for.
Yeah, man. It's fine. You know, that's
We're
yeah.
cheap.
You think we should
I
Blue
pulled
Chew
my
sponsor
arm out
us?
of place laughing at that.
Because we're cheap bastards.
Listen, I put a lot of money into this podcast now.
Jay has probably sunk the most money into this podcast, honestly.
Trying to think of other likely sponsors. We could probably like Omaha Steaks. I'm in Nebraska. Omaha Steaks. Do you want to sponsor us?
PragerU.
Shoot for the fucking stars, and you thought I was crazy to talk about Rick fucking McCain.
What are some other funny sponsors?
I mean, I think we hit our peak with Adam and Eve, Extreme Restraints, and Fleshlight.
I'm telling you, listen, Blue Chew will advertise to anybody apparently. So I mean, we could probably get Blue Chew to advertise us.
Cushy Dreams won't. What the fuck?
Cushy Dreams won't. You advertise fucking with everybody except for us.
We
That's
got.
alright. Cushy Dreams stuff sucks. It's fucking dog shit.
Raycon.
This is what happens when you don't advertise with us.
This
Cushy
video's
Dreams is the only one we've ever reached out to, and they
Yeah.
always get a spam from them.
Yeah. I bought your product once and I just get a ton of shit. You don't want to sponsor me? Your stuff sucks anyway. Go fuck yourself.
Is this what we're doing?
I don't know.
Fuck Cushy Dreams. It
Fuck
stays
Cushy-
in.
Ben, maybe we can get like a Microsoft sponsorship and they'll send you like some Halo stuff or something.
No, fuck my.
Microsoft, do you want to launch another destined to fail streaming music service that also does podcasts and then give us a sponsorship for that?
This has been Star Wars Every Week Forever. For the love of God, good night. Hey, if you enjoyed us, thought we were funny, like our content, or just really love our suffering and want to hear more of it, we're available all over the place and release episodes every Wednesday around 12 Eastern Standard Time. You can find us on Spotify, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Player FM, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and in a unique format over on YouTube that our fans seem to dig. You can join in on the conversation over on Twitter as well, at SWEWF. We're quite active and love to hear from our fans. Sincerely, though, we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to spend with us on this car crash of a ride.